In the heart of West Africa, nestled between rolling hills draped with dense green forests, lay the quiet village of Ebeku. Life here flowed with the rhythm of the land, a pulse as old as the hills themselves. Dawn broke with the crowing of roosters, echoing through narrow clay alleyways, while river birds sang sweet melodies over the shimmering waters. Evenings painted the mud-walled huts in a warm glow, the last rays of sun bouncing off thatched roofs and stirring small clouds of dust in the streets. Smoke curled lazily from countless hearths, carrying the rich, comforting scent of roasted yams and spicy stews mingling with the earthy perfume of wet soil after sudden rain. Amid this timeless harmony, Tony walked alone on a narrow dirt path, carrying tattered documents clutched tightly to his chest. His eyes were heavy with exhaustion and worry, shadowed by the moonlight, while a faint, mysterious glow seemed to peer from the forest edge, as if unseen spirits were watching, waiting for something to unfold. Tony's world had always been simple, yet the calm could shift in an instant. That night, he returned home to chaos, a cruel reminder of life's unpredictability. His belongings, his meager treasures, were scattered outside, trampled by the cold, uncaring hands of his landlady. The courtyard was lit by a small bonfire, flickering and throwing tall, dancing shadows across the walls. Tony fell to his knees, pleading with a voice cracked by desperation, "Please, just one more month, I will pay." But the old woman, eyes sharp with anger, finger pointed accusingly, thundered at him, her words slicing through the night air. Rain began to patter softly on his shoulders, soaking the linen of his worn tunic, the droplets blending with the tears forming in his eyes. In that moment, the weight of rejection, poverty, and loneliness pressed down on him, if the universe itself were testing his resolve. Just as despair threatened to swallow him whole, a sudden ring cut through the night. Tony fumbled for his phone, eyes wide in disbelief as a calm voice on the line offered an unexpected chance, a job. A small glimmer of hope flickered across his exhausted face. The village behind him remained eerily quiet, wind whispering through the trees, shadows swaying as if the forest itself acknowledged the turning point in his fate. Though it was merely a gateman's position, Tony felt a spark of possibility ignite in his chest. Perhaps, just perhaps, this was the first step away from the crushing weight of failure. Morning arrived with a cautious brightness, the sky streaked with pale gold and lingering mist. Tony approached the mansion, heart pounding, each step heavy with anticipation and awe. The estate loomed before him, immense wooden gates carved with tribal motifs, fountains shimmering in the early sunlight, and courtyards lined with meticulously sculpted statues honoring ancestors long past. Madame Remy, resplendent in her elegant red gown patterned with tribal designs, stepped from her polished carriage, standing tall and exuding authority. Her eyes scanned the world with a mixture of curiosity and detached control, as if measuring the worth of everyone around her. Tony's simple tunic and worn shoes seemed a world apart from the grandeur before him, yet determination shone in his expressive eyes. Birds took flight, startled by the movement below, their cries echoing through the courtyard like nature's chorus to his rival. Inside the mansion, Tony was led to his quarters, a modest hut tucked into the corner of the vast estate. Candlelight flickered along carved wooden walls, revealing intricate tribal patterns, shadows twisting and stretching unnaturally. A gentle draft whispered through the corners, carrying a sense that the mansion itself held secrets, waiting silently. Tony set down his simple belongings, taking in the quiet hum of the estate at night. The contrast between his humble lodging and the opulence surrounding him was sharp, yet in his heart, a mixture of humility and apprehension stirred. Unseen presences seemed to linger in the corners, faintly pulsing with the weight of ancestral watchfulness, as if testing the mettle of this young man who dared to enter a world far beyond his own. Nights grew tense in the mansion, shadows deepening as secrets slowly surfaced. Madame Remy pored over ledgers, her eyes narrowing as she discovered missing funds, her breath shallow with worry. Kelly leaned against a carved desk, palm wine in hand, a sly smile playing on his lips, masking envy and ambition. Outside the doorway, Tony's eyes peered cautiously into the room, sensing danger without fully understanding its shape. Candlelight stretched the shadows unnaturally, the flickering illumination revealing the tension between human schemes and the unseen forces at play. The air was heavy, thick with suspense, as though every object in the room, ledgers, cups, carvings, was quietly bearing witness to the unfolding drama. One stormy night, lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating the massive estate gates and casting fleeting brilliance across the whetstone pots. Tony stood vigilant, rain soaking his tunic, droplets tracing lines down his determined face. From the shadows, a black-cloaked figure emerged, eyes glowing red like embers of a fire not yet extinguished. Mist swirled around the fountains and trees, making every shadow seem alive, every movement uncertain. Tony's heart pounded, muscles tense, as if the entire estate held its breath in anticipation. The world seemed poised on the edge of a knife ready to plunge into chaos with the slightest misstep. In the quiet of the library, Tony's hands hovered over an ancient tome, the pages dusted with the weight of centuries. Candlelight flickered across carved wooden shelves, revealing intricate symbols etched into every spine. From the open book, a glowing tribal symbol pulsed softly, casting an ethereal light across Tony's odd and fearful face. Shadows in the room seemed to move independently, almost alive, whispering secrets of ancestors long gone. The air was thick with anticipation and wonder, a palpable sense that the young man was standing on the threshold between the ordinary world and forces beyond human comprehension. In Madame Remy's desk lay an amulet, small, but emanating an aura that seemed to ripple through the air. Faint tribal symbols glimmered, and candle flames flickered violently as if reacting to its presence. Reflected in the surface, Tony's face revealed concern and determination, while Madame Remy's posture radiated tension and unease. The amulet was more than a mere ornament, it was a warning, a mysterious force with the power to alter destinies. Every glance toward it tightened the chest and sharpened the senses, a reminder that danger could be closer than it appeared, lurking just beneath the surface of even the grandest surroundings. Suspicion grew like a shadow in the dimly lit corridors of the mansion. Tony's eyes followed Kelly, who moved with a sly, almost predatory grace. His thoughts hidden behind carefully composed expressions, torches flickered along carved pillars, elongating shadows and creating a silent theater of tension. Outside, the wind swayed trees, carrying whispered warnings. Tony's instincts screamed caution. Kelly's jealousy and cunning were tangible, and each step Tony took seemed to draw him deeper into a web of human conflict layered atop the supernatural currents already at work. The day of the grand launch arrived, the hall shimmering with ceremonial smoke and incense. Madame Remy, resplendent in her red gown, stood under the spotlight, gesturing toward Tony with pride and reverence. Investors, villagers, and staff watched, awe and anticipation etched on every face. The air vibrated with expectation, a quiet tension before the climax. As the stories of courage, betrayal, and unseen forces hung suspended, ready to converge in the decisive moment that would define all futures. In the split second that followed, danger struck. An assassin's red dot glowed faintly in the background, poised to end everything. Without thinking, Tony lunged forward, pressing his lips to Madame Remy's in a desperate kiss. Gasps filled the room. Cameras flashed wildly. Her eyes widened, fear and shock mingling with relief. Kelly's fists clenched in the shadows, fury twisting his face. The moment was suspended, fragile, yet brimming with the life-altering weight of courage, loyalty, and the unexpected heroism of a young man from a quiet village. Relief and gratitude washed over the estate as the morning sun spilled golden light across courtyards and fountains. Tony and Madame Remy embraced, hearts heavy with shared experience, their expressions a mixture of awe, relief, and newfound trust. Villagers and staff watched in quiet admiration, whispers of astonishment and respect rippling through the crowd. Shadows retreated beneath the rising sun, leaving warmth and clarity in the aftermath of chaos. Returning to Ebeku, Tony walked along familiar dusty paths, now carrying not just stories but the weight of lived courage. Children gathered around, eyes wide, listening intently as he gestured, shared wisdom, and spoke of vigilance, respect, and the unseen forces that shape lives. The river sparkled under the morning sunlight, clay huts glowing softly, and Tony's expression was calm, serene, and humble, a sharp contrast to the despair he had once known. On a hill overlooking the village, Tony stood alone, the sunset casting long golden shadows across the land. The amulet returned safely to the elders, glimmered faintly in the distance, a reminder of the delicate balance between power, human ambition, and the unseen world. The wind swirled around him, carrying ghostly whispers of spirits and ancestors, leaving a haunting question lingering in the air. How often do the smallest acts of courage shape destinies beyond emoji? Ning! Tony's eyes were contemplative, aware, and ready for whatever the unseen world might next demand.